I think this was Maya Hawke's first major role.
I think so. Then she was in Stranger Things.
Maya Hawke is curious. She is the daughter of Uma Thurman. She really looks a lot like her mom. When I saw her, I thought she looked so familiar, but she looks like her mom, and I think she has a good Book Joe look. She is attractive, but she is not like overly attractive compared to some of the other actresses. I don't want to say she is ugly because she is not. She is not at all. She is a very attractive individual. But when you think about someone like Kathryn Newton, who plays Amy, who is seen as very conventionally attractive person, I think Maya Hawke looks very good for the part. I think she was only 18 or 19.
I believe June Allison was the oldest Jo. She was 32 when she played Jo. It is interesting because I did not know that, and I totally bought her as an adult Jo and as a teenage Jo, which tells a lot about the actor's abilities.
It did really well exploring each of the girls' stories, and I had said after watching this, Claire Danes was my number one Beth. But that girl that played Beth, oh my God, there was something about her that was so honest. I don't know, was it because we got more time to expand that story and get more out of her, but I was pretty blown away by her.
She was really good.
I give credit for the script writing of Amy in this too, because this felt a little bit closer to how the earlier films did it, where Amy is more teenager than a little kid compared to something like the 70s versions, pretty much where they did a 20-something-year-old thing to play a 12-year-old. This masterpiece theater follows more of the footsteps of the first two versions, where they upgraded her to be something more of a teenager, 14, 15-year-old. This Amy is not as whiny as some of the other ones have been.
I really liked John and Meg in this version. One of my favorite John and Meg moments in the book is when he defends Meg against Laurie's English visitors, who make fun of her being a governess. What was her name? Kate Vaughn.
Kate Vaughn.
She is the rich girl, and John is like, here in America, women like to work and be independent. And I love him. There was bits of that in this adaptation. There was the boat scene, but it sadly doesn't have the scene where he defends her. But it has a conversation between Meg and John about him going to the war, and Meg is worried about him. The whole scene when he is in the war and he gets wounded, to me it was like, this is breaking my heart.
It felt very much like a lens how wives worry about the men they love, and I did really like the scene between Meg and Aunt March when John confesses his feelings. There is something about her expression when she is like, I love him. She's very excited. Oh my God, I do actually love him. They are just so adorable in this one. If you are a huge John and Meg shipper, over the other couples, this is one those you enjoy the most. There is a lot really great moments between them.
I have to agree. It is a really good Meg and John adaptation.
I have to say, there is a little bit more of Mr. March in this than some of the other ones. He is not as present in the other movies. At times, it is quite hard to spot him. Obviously, in the first part, he is in the war, and then in the second part, he is here and there. But this one actually, I think, highlighted a lot of those scenes. Jo goes in and says, I need you to talk to me and treat me like I'm Beth. I really need your guidance now. The two of them are leaning on to each other. I like that we had a little bit more with him, and I feel like he is some ways an underrated. He gets ignored, not as much as Amy or Friedrich, but he gets shut to the side and ignored. I always forget his name, but I have seen this actor on many things, the actor who plays Mr. March, and I always like him in everything. Emma Watson plays Marmee. There is a lot of added scenes in this one that I like. There's two separate scenes. Meg is pregnant and Meg is worried, and she's like, don't worry, I am going to be right there with you. You're a strong woman. I know you can do this. I really like those moments when we see her guiding her, not just giving advice, but really being there, because back then you gave birth at home and you needed the experience of someone like your mother to be there to make sure you do okay.
That scene is also in the book when Jo goes to her father, Dad, give me some comfort. I am having a hard time coping with all of this. I have read a couple fanfics where Joe is giving birth at home. Mommy is there and Friedrich is always there.
I can only imagine. Have you ever seen the show Victoria? It was a really great show. I don't think it is coming back. There is a scene in the end of the first season where Victoria is giving birth and Albert is in the sitting room and she is trying to get all these guys out of there. She is screaming at them, "Get them out of here. I don't care if they see who this next heir is," and he is trying to shovel them out. But as soon as Victoria screams for Albert, he comes running in, holding her hand, and that is actually true. In real life, Albert was there for Victoria, and back then it was like, men don't get to be with women when they are giving birth, but he did for all of their children. I feel like that would be something that Friedrich would do. Wait, Joe, I'm coming. This one is pretty faithful. This one has a child servant in New York. Not an adult, an actual child, and she's not carrying laundry. She is carrying a bucket of coal. This is how Joe and Friedrich officially meet in this version. They see each other at breakfast around the table, but this is the first time when Joe and Friedrich in this adaptation talk, because he helps the little girl with the bucket, and Joe is like, "That was so nice of you." And he says, "I don't like when I see kids doing work that they should not be doing." I thought that was a really nice moment.
It is really important part. Joe sees that he is good with kids and he is against child labor. Hello, friends. It is Niina from the Little Woman podcast. Just to let you all know that the Little Woman podcast episode transcripts are now available as books. You can find them as paperbacks and ebooks. They are wonderful reading for all the fans of Louisa May Alcott. You can find all the links from the description. And now, back to the show. They share the same values. I do like that scene in the series. I remember I was disappointed when I saw this series. It has 3 episodes, and it should be half and half. First part of Little Woman, and the other part 2 of Little Woman. But this one has 2 episodes dedicated for the first part, and 1 episode for the second part. So the ending feels very rushed.
They should have done 2 episodes for both parts.
I did feel a bit that the script writer kind of ruined this adaptation for me. People really underestimate how much what the actors say or what the director says or the scriptwriter says. Those things really affect the way people see the adaptations. I read an interview from Heidi Thomas, the scriptwriter, and she said that she never understood why Joe rejected Laurie and why she married Professor Bear, who, quote, stopped her becoming a writer. And I'm like, did we read the same book? Friedrich in the book is literally the one who helps Joe to become a writer. But that ruined the entire series for me. It is really sad because there was so much potential.
I didn't know that is how the scriptwriter felt. I always felt that Laurie was pushing it. Laurie is trying to kiss her when Joe is sleeping, and Joe is like, "Laurie, I need you to be my friend now, so back off." Or the moment when Laurie is trying to sit next to her, and Joe is like, "No," and puts a barrier between them. And this is the second one that actually has the proposal after New York. And I think that worked out pretty well. I don't know how you feel. The actor who played Laurie, I am not sure if I liked him. I don't know. I felt that he was quite stiff in the beginning. He got better as the series got on. I did like him when the series went on a little bit more. I did like some of the added scenes with him and Amy when he is visiting her at Aunt March, and they have that talk when she is like, "I have these thoughts and dreams I want to do." It was a nice groundwork of what would become of their relationship.
The scriptwriter, even if they were a Joe and Laurie shipper, they managed to push their personal feelings aside, which is something that, for example, Reda Gerwig was not able to do. With Amy and Laurie, I think that was my favorite scene between the two. The whole chat they had. One of my friends said that this series has a depressed Laurie. I kind of agree with that because they tried to show him to butt heads with Joe, but then there are many scenes of him being very moody. I have very mixed feelings about it. The actor looked like the book Laurie with curly black hair. I know that Jonah Howard's ancestors are from England and Germany, as I found out. So he's not Italian like the book Laurie, but he has some physical resemblance to the book Laurie. To me, Laurie is such a complicated character, and it takes a good actor to play him. This Laurie was moody, but he wasn't that temperamental like the book Laurie. There needs to be a full range of emotions. In the proposal scene, you kind of feel more sorry for him in this series, when in the book his behavior is more disturbing.
He is somewhere between two Lauries, Peter Lawford and Christian Bale. I just find it amusing. I liked that moment when Jo is in New York and she is writing a letter and we see Marmee reading it. The part about Professor Bear, we see a shot of Laurie sitting on the ground just pounding. I found that so amusing.
Early days of this podcast, I was on YouTube looking for clips from this adaptation for a video essay, and there were so many people in the comments saying Jo and Laurie are so incredibly romantic in this version. And then maybe one or two people saying there are moments when he is kind of creepy. Once again, people pay more attention to characters' physical appearance than their behavior. I didn't get a feeling that they were very romantic in this version.